Hello, my name is Magdalene McCulloch, and I am a graduating senior at Buffalo Seminary High School. My project is an immersive artificial intelligence and virtual reality simulation of Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld in his library. To create the project, I first used IBM Watson to make a chatbot with Dr. Hirschfeld, and then I used Unity to create the model of his library. To put it all together, we used the Oculus Rift glasses to make it a virtual reality experience. To begin, I'll give you a demonstration so you can find out about who Magnus Hirschfeld is. Hello. Hello.
Hello, I'm Magnus Hirschfeld. I am a gay Jewish physician, philanthropist, and intellectual. What would you like to know about me?
Can you tell me more about the library?
The library in my institute was the largest collection of medical textbooks, papers, books, and novels on human sexuality and gender ever created. Scientists and academics would come from around the world to study the collection of over 20,000 texts. When the Nazis raided the institute in 1933, the books were collected and publicly burned.
I'd like to know more about the institute.
In 1919 I established the Institut für Sexualwissenschaft Institute of Sexology in English. The institute was located in the Hatzfeld Palace in Berliner Garten. The institute held an extensive library, sexual and mental health clinics, and home for me, Carl, and our adopted family. Academics and doctors came from around the world to study from our library. In 1933, the institute was looted and seized by the Nazis. By that time Li Shutong and I were in exile in France, and Carl was on his way, but the fate of everyone else living at the institute is still unclear.
Great. So that's how the project works. So my first step in creating this project was to create an IBM Watson chatbot with Dr. Hirschfeld so that it would be like you're having a text conversation with him. So for this part of the project, it was mostly me just tinkering around with IBM Watson to figure out how it works and what the best strategies for creating a chatbot were. So there's a couple of things that I would do differently now. Like, for example, I would make it so that there's fewer intents, which are broad categories for any question that the user might pose. But I think it works completely fine how it is now, and that's all that really matters. So it can answer almost any question. If you ask him, what is your favorite soup, he will not be able to answer it. But if you ask him relevant questions about himself, the library, the institute, his partners, he'll be able to answer it for you. So after I created the intents, I created these entities, which are more specific categories that a question could fall under. There's all different ones. His opinions on anti-Semitism, gender, racism, but also facts about his philanthropy, the library, the college that he went to, all different things like that. So from there, I created the actual dialogue of the chatbot. So as I demonstrated, when you open the chatbot and say hello, he'll respond with this pretty broad, unspecific answer. But then when you ask him a more specific question, like about the institute or facts about his life, as I demonstrated, he'll be able to give you a more specific answer. He can also answer questions about his books, which I use direct quotes from his books for these questions. You can also ask questions in many different ways. Like, you could ask him, what city did you live in? But you could also ask, where did you live? And he'll give you the same response that he lived in Berlin. When he doesn't know how to answer, he'll respond with, "My English isn't perfect. Can you please rephrase the question?" So that's the chatbot bit of the project. When I was done completing that, I made this scene in Unity, which is a replication, or I guess you could say a hypothesis of what his library would look like, because we don't know exactly what his library looked like. There are no photographs of it. So I included many books because we know there's a lot of them, and this armchair because, as you can see in this photograph, he certainly had an armchair. And I included photographs of actual things that happened at the Institute, like parties and meetings with other academics. And, you know, he lived there with many of the queer people who would otherwise be homeless in Berlin, and his boyfriends Carl Gies and Li Shutong. So for this part, I had the help of my friend August at school, because she's really good at making things in Unity look perfect, like just how these shelves are flush to the ceiling right here. My favorite part of this room is this book that I created, which is an exact replication of an actual book that he wrote. It looks just like this. It's called Transvestites, which of course we wouldn't use that term now, but in 1920 it was, you know, really radical and really correct terminology. So yeah. It also includes a map of Europe and a model of him and a doctorate diploma. So now for the model of him, I am not too well versed in character creator, and so my teacher, Ms. Harb, created this model, and I think it looks really great. And then we imported the model together from Character Creator. So the next thing we had to do in this project was put it all together. The IBM Watson, the Character Creator, and the Unity. So for this part, we enlisted the help of Michael Peters from Crosswater Digital Media. So he helped us by making a couple of C# scripts so that when you're actually in the game, you can look around the room, or ideally, when you're using the Oculus Rift glasses, you can look around with your eyes and see the whole room. So it may seem like I had quite a bit of help with this project, which I did have a bit of help, but I did the bulk of the work myself. I had help with some of the more technical aspects of this project because I was the first student to take the artificial intelligence and virtual reality classes at my school and do a project like this. So it was really this year about working out the kinks so that in following years, the projects will be even better. And I'm really excited for the committee to see these types of projects that students from my school create in the coming years. And yeah, so there's just a couple of little things that I would fix about my project. Like you saw, it took a minute or a couple seconds for the chatbot to respond when you spoke to it. And so that's in part due to my Wi-Fi, but if we just fixed a couple of technical things, it wouldn't take so long. Also, I'd really like for it to be used with the Oculus Rift glasses because that's the ideal situation for the project, but we'll be able to do that when we're not in a pandemic. I'd also like the project to be used in a classroom setting because, like I talked about before, it's just so important for people to learn about Magnus Hirschfeld and his institute, especially since the library was burned on purpose. I feel like it's my responsibility to make that knowledge known to the public again. So I hope you learned something and you like the project. Thank you so much. I hope that you and your family are doing well during this time. Bye.